Hey guys, so I think we started this before break, but if we did, we didn't get really deeply into it. So we're going to do a full-on practice video with the Mozart Jupiter excerpt. So I highlighted the part that you're responsible for. It is the first violin, and you are responsible for rhythm here. So you will conduct in 3 and speak the rhythm for me in whatever manner you choose. So let's start out with the very beginning. We have a lot of small note values with this example. And I know we did talk about this in class, the idea of double durational dots. So a durational dot adds half of the note value to it. So a dotted quarter note is a quarter note plus half of its value, which is another eighth note. If you've got another dot, you are adding on another half of the half, I guess. So as we deduced in class, these guys are coming in the space of the final 16th note of the bar. Similarly here. So I'm going to conduct in 3 through the first 4, 5 bars and speak the rhythm for you, but I'm going to switch between subdividing out loud and tawing. This is nice and slow, you don't have to rush through it. 2E and 3E and ta, ta, 2E and 3E and ta-ka-ta, ta, 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 2E and 3E and ta-ka-ta, ta. So now let's look at the next little phrase. If you notice, our odd numbered bars are all starting with the same rhythmic unit. So we're starting with a dotted 8th 16th on all of our odd numbered bars thus far. Now, let's look at the second beat. It looks intimidating. All you really need to do to lock in that triplet is keep your 16th note subdivision going, because this note duration and this note duration are equivalent. They are both 3/16 notes in value. They're both a 1E and. So then you've just got to sneak the triplet into, again, the last 16th note of that beat. So I'm going to do just that measure and the following measure once or twice for you so you can get some ears on it. And again, I'll subdivide out loud the first time and I'll just talk straight through the second time. 2E and 3E and ta, ta, 2E and ta, 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 ta. So you heard me say 2E and triplet. So 2E and ta, 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 ta. Now I'm going to do it without the subdividing so you just hear what it sounds like normally. 2E and 3E and ta, 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 ta. All right, that's tricky spot number 2. Now let's take a look at the last measure of that system, which again looks a little bit intimidating because of all of the beams, but I promise you it is not that bad. First off, you get to cruise through the first beat, right? You just got a quarter note that's tied. The challenge is, what note value is it tied to? So when I get to these kind of masses of small note values, sometimes I like to sort of work my way through the beat by what I absolutely know. So if you look at this, we've got beat 1 here, you've got beat 2 here, and beat 3 here. Beats 1 and 3, you're home free, right? Beat 3 is just regular old 16th notes. Beat 1 is just a quarter note. So we really only have to nitpick beat 2. So if we're looking at beat 2, the last half of it are just regular 16th notes. So the reason I put the eighth down there is they're in the space of 1/8 note. So you know that what's remaining is also in the durational space of an eighth note because it's got to round out a full beat. So what I'm going to do the first time through is actually nix this tie right now. I don't want it there. I'm going to articulate everything so that you can hear kind of what is going on and how it would sound if every note was articulated. 2E and 3E and ta, taka taka ta 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 ta. So I'll do it one more time. 2E and 3E and ta, taka taka ta 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 ta. Now let's try putting the tie in. Now, if this step comes way later for you, that's fine. Get rid of the tie and keep it out for as long as you need to. Let that be like the last thing that you throw in. 2E and 3E and ta, ka ta ka ta 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 ta. Again, if you when you get to that part of putting the tie back in, if it keeps throwing you off, take it back out. Practice without the tie for as long as you need to before you put it back in. All right, let's look at the last system, and you're pretty much out of the woods. The first part of this is the most difficult. I'm not even going to belabor the first measure of the system. You're going to be fine. Let's talk about the second measure. Again, beat 1, home free. Beat 3, easy peasy. Beat 2, we've got a regular old 16th note here. So your first 16th, business as usual. And then your other 3 16ths, you're just dividing them each in half. So you just have a string of 30-second notes filling out the rest of that beat. Again, I'm going to do it without the tie first. So I'm going to disregard this tie for a moment. And I'll go from the beginning of the system just so you can hear that measure as well. 2E and 3E and ta 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 taka 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 ta 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 ta. So I went to the end. I did, like I said, take out the tie so that you could hear it without. So let's just isolate this measure for right now. Still no tie. 2E and 3E and ta ta taka 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 ta 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 ta. I'll do it one more time and I'll subdivide the 16th notes during that first beat. I trust you all to ta a quarter note. So I'm going to subdivide out loud the 16th notes during the first beat so you have them in your ear going into the second beat. 2E and 3E and 1E and ta taka 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 ta 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 ta. So we'll do it one more time that way. 2E and 3E and 1E and 2 taka 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 3E and okay, now let's try it tying that entire measure. So no more subdividing out loud, still keep the tie out. 2E and 3E and ta ta taka 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 ta 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 ta. Last thing we're going to do, let's try and put the tie in. 2E and 3E and ta taka 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 ta 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 ta. If that is where you fell off the wagon, take the tie back out for right now. Again, let that be the last thing you worry about. Let it be the last thing you put in. Okay, now last measure, and then you're good. This one has a little bit of syncopation, so our beats have been very nicely kind of self-contained thus far. We've got a little bit of syncopation here to deal with. So here's your beat 1. Your beat 2 is in the middle of that quarter note. And beat 3, again, business as usual. So let's talk about what we have going on in the very beginning of that measure. You can kind of navigate it in all sorts of ways, but we have this extra beam here. So we have the same durational proportion of dotted 8th 16th, only it is now in half of that space, right? So now it's in the space of an 8th note rather than a quarter note. And then from there, I think you're going to be okay. I think you're pretty much home free. So let's just now focus on that measure. So let's isolate this bar to the very end. 2E and 3E and ta 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 ta. Easy peasy. Let's do it one more time. 2E and 3E and ta 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 ta. So you know that you hit it right if you come to these last 4/8 notes while your conducting pattern is on its upswing. So again, this is also my annoying plug for your conducting, being nice and precise. You know that you got that right if your conducting pattern hits on that upswing. Let's do the entire second system together. I'm going to keep the tie in, but you are welcome to take it out for right now. 2E and 3E and ta 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 taka 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 ta 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 ta. Okay, so there's your practice material for the Mozart. The other thing I'm going to call your attention to, if you're as you're kind of in the polishing stages of this, is we have some lovely, hard to miss dynamics, especially in the beginning. And this part rhythmically, at least those first 4 bars, isn't that hard. So you can give me tons of dynamics there. I need to hear the difference between your piano and forte. There's no subtlety here. It's either quiet or it's very, very not quiet. I need to hear the difference between them. So think about that once you've kind of shored up the rhythms themselves. Okay, if you have questions or want extra help, come on into office hours. I'm happy to Zoom video with you as well to kind of clean up any conducting or work through the rhythms with you. All right, guys, stay safe. I'll see you soon.